Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Guys, welcome back to the show for the people that understand that facts divided by feelings equals failure. I'm Cliff, I'm your host, and we're going to explore toxic tolerance. How many good intentions does it actually take to erode society? We're going to get into it. But before we do that, you know the drill. If you want to help me get this word out, get these truths out, you can follow me on Savagely Loud on Instagram. That is where I'm most active. On that page, you will find two links. One link is to the Savagely Loud podcast page on Instagram. You can go ahead and follow me there too, please, because that will inevitably be my backup page when they shut me down. And you will also find a link tree to all my media sites. So wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it in there. Furthermore than that, one of them things, but outside of that, how about that one? You can follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, and YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast. And last but not least, you can also email me in savagelyloud@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concerns, show ideas, anything like that. Even if you want to talk a little shit, go ahead and email me in. And guys, please, I'm begging you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that shit. Help me get these truths out there. If I'm willing to say what you guys aren't willing to say, what you tell me in the messages, and I'm okay with that. I'm not throwing shade. We don't all live a life that we are allowed to speak this forwardly, this outrightly. We can't all talk like this. So fucking help me out, guys. Rate the show, Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. Give me a good 5-star rating. Leave a review, do all that good shit. Help me get this out here. We need to wake more people up like us so that we can continue taking this planet back and putting it back to a place that is good. Now, let's talk about updates. There aren't many updates. There's a lot of updates. There's always a lot of shit, a lot of gears turning back here. But I had nothing I'm really ready to share. We are almost ready to go to 2 shows a week. I'm trying to plan out, the whole idea behind this is I want to plan out 2 different shows. I want to plan out maybe a show where I have a guest and a show where I'm rolling solo, or a show where I'm just kind of riffing and bitching about what might be happening that day or in the news at that moment. And then another show to, on a deep dive kind of thing. We're working it out. It's coming, I promise. Yes, the gear is coming too. I want to get the website up and rolling before I release any of the gear, and that's going very well. So maybe very soon, okay? So let's get into this toxic tolerance, because, man, if you're anything like me, which you are, you've grown up hearing what? Be tolerant of others. Practice tolerance. Practice acceptance. Acceptance and tolerance are the same thing. But we've grown up hearing this, and I'm looking around at the world, and I'm starting to much like you most likely are, I'm looking at the world, and I'm starting to realize that this went wrong somewhere. At some point in time, we lost our way with this whole tolerance shit, and we kind of just blanketly applied it to everything, like broad brush. Just painted the whole fucking world with tolerance. So I want to get into the whole idea of tolerance, what it actually means, where it actually came from, the evolution of tolerance as we know it today, and see if we can't figure something out how to unfuck society as we see it today. So let's get into the roots of tolerance, okay? So tolerance, if we're going to talk about tolerance, we've got to talk about the definition. Let's bring the definition up first. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, it quotes, toleration is the word that it quotes. The term toleration, from the Latin tolerare, to put up with, countenance, or suffer, generally refers to the conditional acceptance or non-interference with beliefs, actions, and practices that one considers to be wrong, but still, quote, tolerable, such that they should not be prohibited or constrained. There are many contexts in which we speak of a person or an institution as being tolerant. Parents tolerate certain behavior of their children. A friend tolerates the weakness of another. A monarch tolerates dissent. A church tolerates homosexuality. A state tolerates a minority religion. A society tolerates deviant behavior. Thus, for any analysis of the motives and reasons for toleration, the relevant contexts need to be taken into account. And this is where they start making excuses for how much tolerance we're supposed to practice. The concept of toleration and its paradoxes, 4 concepts of toleration, the history of toleration, justifying toleration, the politics of toleration, and then it goes into some other academic tools and shit. But there we have the definition given this by the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which basically means let people around you do what you don't like and be okay with it. And I would have you fucking look at the world and see where that has gotten us. You see, we look out at the world and we see so much fucking tolerance. Everything seems to be tolerance, doesn't it? Like, every time you turn around, it's just, well, be tolerant, be tolerant. Somebody pisses you off on the road. Well, you don't know their life. Maybe they're going through a worse day than you are. You got to practice tolerance. Somebody rapes your wife, and you're still hearing motherfuckers say, well, be tolerant because, the man that did that is from a different culture. And in their culture, rape is acceptable. So you have to practice a little bit of tolerance because there's such a cultural difference. This whole fucking bullshit line of crap goes on and on and on and on and on through the course of humanity, okay? So if we get down and we go all the way to we talk about the paradox of tolerance, right? The paradox of tolerance is basically the idea that unlimited tolerance will only empower the people that don't practice it, right? Which means the more good people practice tolerance, the more bad people will take advantage of those good people. They will prey on those good people because they know they'll be tolerant. And that is one of the biggest fucking things that we see in society today is evil pieces of shit preying on people because they know they've been indoctrinated their whole life to just be tolerant of the behavior. Most of the criminals out there, most of the world's worst fucking scumbags, they are only the world's worst scumbags to people because nobody has shut them down. And do you know why nobody's shut them down? It's not because they're giant pussies. It's not because they don't have a spine. It's because they've been programmed from day one to not do anything when it comes to an opposition of behavior, right? When somebody exhibits behavior that opposes what you truly believe in your moral structure, what are you supposed to do? Well, you should fight it. You really should knuckle under and get digging into it. But our programming tells us that we're supposed to tolerate it. Our programming says we're supposed to exhibit all this acceptance and tolerance because we don't know the story of that person. We don't understand, where it came from, where this behavior, this mindset, this mentality that this person is living under. We don't know where it came from, and that applies to everything, every fucking facet of our reality today. Somebody's telling us to practice fucking tolerance. It doesn't matter if it's gender. It doesn't matter if it's race. It doesn't matter if it's culture. It doesn't matter if it's religion. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter. No matter if you like a different bicycle, we have to practice tolerance. Everything is revolving around tolerance. And I would have you fucking understand that tolerance is what has made this world almost unlivable. Tolerance is what has made good people start fighting back. You see, I was one of those good people. I've never been one for laying down, you know what I mean? But I've genuinely had a good heart. I've done a lot of fucking charity. I've headed up charity organizations. I've owned charity organizations. I've had a good heart. But there are so many people just like me that you're seeing on the internet now, providing content and producing content much like this, talking about the stickiest shit that we can possibly think of to talk about. And why is that? It's because we practice so much tolerance in our history that we are now fed the fuck up. We are now done. And me personally, I believe that this is all part of the plan. I believe that this was a plan from day one, which is why they moved tolerance to next demographic, the next genre, the next facet, the next asset, the next aspect of life that we can apply tolerance to divide people is what we're going to do. Yes, you caught that. I said apply tolerance to divide people. Well, tolerance really does divide people. You see, look at the American timeline, okay? We'll talk race. We'll talk specifically black people and white people, because in the 60s we had desegregation. And that means we had a lot of black people suddenly flooding into white areas. Now, here's the thing. The entire time that was happening, it was white people that were continuously told to practice tolerance. It was white people that were continuously demanded and programmed to exhibit tolerance. Yet the entire black community, not one of those people, had ever been taught to tolerate the white community. The white community hated the black community just as much as the black community hated the white community, but only one of those communities was being told to practice tolerance. So we started practicing tolerance as white people. We started tolerating all of the worst fucking behavior that we could imagine. The way the methods of operation, the way these people lived, it just wasn't good. And then when we hit the 70s, what did we see? We saw an explosion in street gang culture, which is primarily black. Okay. Well, we kept on tolerating it. As long as it didn't bother us, didn't direct us, it didn't directly affect us, we just tolerated it. We just turned the other cheek. We just looked the other fucking way. We have to practice tolerance because we don't want those labels. We don't want to get told that we're a bigot or a racist if we start talking about the criminality in the black community. So then that led to more and more gangs, more and more gang violence. And then the gang violence stopped being just locked up inside gang to gang. It stopped being just pigeonholed to the gang community. Then the criminality started moving outside the gangs, and the gangs started preying more heavily, not that they always didn't, but they started preying more heavily on the people outside of the gangs because they have the understanding that those people are good people. Those people practice tolerance. Those people have been programmed so deeply that they won't fight back no matter what you do, and that's exactly what we saw happen. Nobody fighting back, no matter what was done to them. So gang culture and the gang life and the gang community just exploded. Bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it swallowed nearly entire cities. Okay. Now, what do we see when we look at the gang community nowadays in America? We see primarily black, and then underneath them, we see Latin. I won't say Mexican, although, I mean, pretty much everybody south of the border is a Mexican to an American, right? But we see Latin gangs and we see black gangs primarily. Of course, there's some other ones out there. White people, we call our gangs clubs and we ride motorcycles. But mostly we see, as far as willing to prey on civilians, that is gangs. Motorcycle clubs don't prey on civilians. Street gangs prey on civilians, and they're doing so more and more and more and more and more and more often because we are now just tolerating everything. Think about this. The last time you were on internet land, you had 10 minutes, you wanted to fuck around, you were in the shitter, whatever. You fired up your phone and you hit YouTube or you hit Instagram. What did you see? You probably saw a lot of fucking videos of good people getting taken advantage of. You probably saw a lot of people getting carjacked, people getting mugged, people getting robbed at knife point, good people getting beaten in the street. This is the reason you saw all this is because we've become such a fucking pussified culture that we just don't do anything back. Because most people, and this goes for most white people are so fucking terrified of saying or doing or fucking anything regarding the black community because they'll be called a racist, that they won't do it. Most white people nowadays will fucking die with a smile on their fucking face as long as they never got a label, as long as they never got called a bigot, they never got called a racist, they never got called none of that shit. They'll die with a fucking smile on their face as the victim of a crime perpetrated by the people that they don't want to offend. This is most white people, and until these motherfuckers start standing up, we're pretty well fucked, you know? And now that extends to other communities in America because America isn't just primarily white and primarily black. Now it's not even primarily white. It's black, it's Indian, it's Middle Eastern, it's Mexican or South American, Central American, it's fucking Canadian, it's fucking Japanese, it's all sorts of Asians. It's everything. But all of these people keep getting taken advantage of. Now, it's not just white. It's everybody now. They keep getting taken advantage of because as Americans in America, we've been indoctrinated into just tolerate everything. And now, when we go back in history, we can see what this has been used. Like this tolerance has been a weapon, has been a tool weaponized against the people to push narratives. Because when you go way the fuck back, it was all about religion. And then you go a little bit more forward and it was about culture. Then you go a little bit more forward and it was about color. Then you go a little bit more forward in time and it was about politics. Then you go a little bit more forward in time and it was about gender. Then you go a little bit more forward in time and it was about sexual ideologies. You go a little bit more forward in time and I'm sure it's going to be something else. They weaponize tolerance against good people so that chaos can reign and the government then has a reason to take the fuck over. Right? Because none of us want the government to take over. No normal-minded, fucking middle-of-the-road, average Joe wants the government to take over. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Most of us want the government to get the fuck out of our business, leave us the fuck alone. Do some shit that is good for us, and we'll start following you more closely. But we're not seeing you do anything that's good for the citizens of your country, and that applies to many countries, not just America. But I would say America, I'll take number 2, because the UK really fucking hates its people. I don't think anybody, okay, we'll go 3, because I don't think the UK and Australia, of those 2 fucking countries, I don't think there is another group of fucking people in a government that hates its own citizenry more than the UK government and the Australian government. Next, right underneath that is the American government, because the American government keeps doing shit to promote tolerance when it should stop tolerating this shit. We could have a fucking utopia here in America if everybody would just stop tolerating things. Because you have to understand, to tolerate means to suffer. To tolerate means you're putting up with something you don't feel like you should be putting up with. Okay? If you don't feel like you should be putting up with this, why are you putting up with this? It's because it's what? It's somebody else's thing that you can't defend? What makes them so much more important than you are? What makes a Middle Easterner wanting to fucking have their call to prayer in the middle of the fucking road at noon or whatever on a fucking Wednesday when people are trying to get places? What makes them so much better than you? What makes them so higher on the rankings as to say that you shouldn't offend them, as to say that you shouldn't be offended by them being in your fucking way? It's all a fucking weapon that the governments use to force diversity. And we all know forced diversity does not work. Diversity in and of itself is a killer of cultures. But when you force it, now you're really fucking devastating lands, okay? So what should we do? When we talk about tolerance, should we just tolerate nothing? Or should we tolerate everything like they would have us do now? Well, I would have you think about this. Instead of tolerating everything, I would say that there is a room for grace. There's room for nuance here. Tolerate things like opposing opinions, okay? Now, I have an opinion on diversity. Let's say you don't share that opinion. I should be tolerant. I don't have to, but I should be tolerant that you disagree with me. That's okay. We can have a conversation over this, and maybe you'll change my mind. Maybe I'll change your mind. My guess is I won't, because you're married to your indoctrination far more than I'm married to mine. But we could have the conversation and then walk away both tolerating the result. I walk away tolerating the fact that you disagree with me, and you walk away tolerating the fact that I disagree with you. That's okay. That's fine. But now let's talk about subjects like when we get into religion. We've got a religion out there that their religion is all about marrying 6-year-olds. How do you tolerate that? How do you tolerate a grown man marrying a fucking 6-year-old? Better question. Rather than thinking about how you tolerate it, think about why on earth for a fucking second you would tolerate that shit. A 6-year-old walks in front of me that's married, that little girl is going to be a fucking widow at 6 years old, because that fucking piece of shit that married her does not deserve to be on this fucking planet, breathing the same air as you and I and that precious little girl. Does that make me wrong? Does that make me wrong for not tolerating? Because the way I look at it is, you know, I could bring this back to a religious conversation I had with a great friend of mine the other day, and he said, I asked him, because God was not allowed in my house growing up. I wasn't allowed to find God till later. So I asked him, I said, what is all this fucking tolerance shit that they say Christians are supposed to do? Christians are supposed to love all, accept all, and just roll over like a bitch when they're getting stabbed to death? Like, what is this? And he said, no. He said, no, Christians are supposed to be accepting, but Christians are also supposed to fight evil. Evil is marrying a fucking 6-year-old girl as a grown man. Evil is having parades of young boys dress up as little girls for your sexual entertainment. So why on earth are we even, for a microsecond, not even a millisecond, why are we fucking tolerating any of this? And why is this being told to us by our government that it's okay? That it's just another culture. You don't accept it. You don't understand their culture. You have to let it go because that's their culture. Why is it that fucking Americans and to further on that, white Americans are always the ones being told to practice so much fucking tolerance? How come the black community in America is not religiously being taught tolerance of white views? How come the Middle Eastern fucking demographic in America is not religiously being taught to tolerate American traditions, cultures, and values rather than burn them down? How come the Asian communities in America are not being religiously taught to tolerate the habits, cultures, traditions, and of white people and Americans in general? They're not. How come Americans are the only ones that have to fucking practice all this tolerance while nobody else has to fucking practice a goddamn ounce of it? How come white people are the only fucking people that always get told to practice all this fucking tolerance and nobody else gets told to practice a fucking, not even a second, not an iota of fucking tolerance towards white people? In fact, it's quite the opposite. If you look at the black community, that's nothing. The black community is taught nothing but to hate the white community. And the brilliant fucking black people out there that have figured out the fucking game, figured out the narrative, kudos to you. Now you've got some fucking work to do. Now you have to go to your people that don't listen to my people, and you have to spread that gospel. You have to fucking spread that goddamn word so that they get it, so that they understand it, because they don't hear it from me. They don't hear it when people like me say it. They don't hear it when anybody but their own culture says it. Now, I understand. You guys, you brilliant black people that have figured out the game, you also get heat for it too from your own community, don't you? You get called a traitor, an Uncle Tom, all because you won't support somebody just because of the fucking color of their skin. How's that feel? I'll bet you it feels pretty shitty. I'd have to imagine it feels pretty shitty. I know it feels really shitty in my heart and soul when white people do nothing but try to usher in the devastation of white people. When white people are standing at the front of the line to argue for illegal immigration and how great it is. When white people are standing at the front of the protest line, us trying to usher in all these fucking Muslims that marry children. I know it feels pretty fucking shitty when my people create our demise and usher in our demise and welcome in our devastation. So I can imagine that it would feel really fucking bad for you guys. And I think that's when it comes time to team up. I think that's when it comes time to band together. That's when I think it comes time for the people, the black people that understand the game, the white people that understand the game, and the people in between there that all fucking join in that same party. I think that's when it's time to come together under the American flag, call ourselves nothing but Americans, not African Americans, not Asian Americans, not Mexican Americans, not white Americans, Irish Americans, nothing. We are fucking Americans. And then we take the fight to the non-Americans. And the non-Americans are the ones in gangs. The non-Americans are the ones that are hurting people on a daily fucking basis so that they can fucking feel good about themselves or they can live their life the way they want to live. Those are the non-Americans. I myself know people that are here illegally that are far more American than most of the fucking Americans I know. Yeah, I know. That flies directly in the face of my typical content. But that's a fact. Because these fucking people understand some things that Americans have, it's all been indoctrinated out of. And one of the things they understand is fucking pride in your country. Nationalism. Again, when it comes to every country on earth, except white countries, where they're taught nationalism. Be nationalist. Anywhere in Africa, go to any country in Africa, they're taught nationalism. Asia, nationalism. Fucking, when you get to fucking the Middle East, Israel, nationalism, 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 nationalism. But what happens when you get to the UK, which is a primarily white country? Nationalism makes you a piece of shit. What happens to the US that they say is a primarily white country that I still don't believe? Nationalism makes you a piece of shit. Canada, nationalism makes you a piece of shit. Iceland, nationalism makes you a piece of shit. Greenland, nationalism makes you a piece of shit. Why is it that it's only white countries that nationalism makes you a piece of shit? But Asian countries and Middle Eastern countries and Jewish countries and Latin countries and black countries, nationalism's top of the list of what you should be practicing. Yet we're over here fucking practicing all this tolerance. Let's look over at UK. How's all that fucking tolerance in UK working out? France is a fucking third world country. I shit you not. France is a third world country. Paris is so fucking devastated by the trash people that have fucking infiltrated that beautiful environment that people don't even go there. That was once one of the most sought after destinations on earth for weddings, for vacations, for fucking anything. Now people won't even go there because tolerance. The people of fucking France tolerated it as their government just ushered in millions of these fucking pieces of shit. Millions of the lowest forms of life on earth. They just tolerated it. And now their country is lost and they can't get it back. The only way, because this is the fucking thing you have to understand, once they're already here, the only way you can get rid of them, the only way you can get your country back is to kill them. And we don't do that, right? We don't genocide. I mean, some of us don't. I mean, I know the tiny hats do, but we don't. I know the Chinese do. Mao Zedong. We don't. So what do? Just practice more tolerance? Or can we flip the script? Can we somehow find a way to take this tolerance notion, practice less of it ourselves, and force other people to practice more of it? That's a lot of what I do. You know, a lot of people fucking question what I do and why I do it and how I do it. I'll tell you why I do it. Because we've tolerated this shit for too long. America's absolutely fucked. The black community is responsible for 70% of our violent crime, but they only comprise 14% of our population. The Mexican community, they say, is less than that. Far less than that. And it produces roughly half of the amount of crime that the black community does. So we've got these two communities in our fucking country right now, the Mexicans and the fucking and the blacks, that are just devastating the fucking place. Because we've tolerated it for so fucking long. In fact, we've tolerated it to such an extent that the black community gets offended when you say, statistically, You create 70% of the violent crime and 51% of the murders, but you only comprise 14% of our population. They have been so fucking tolerated for so fucking long that offends them. How dare you fucking speak to us that way? What do you mean speak to you that way? I'm just telling you what the truth is, what reality is. And it would seem as though your culture has some glaring fucking issues that are only getting worse. But now I'm a racist, right? Now I'm a bigot. Now I'm a hate monger. Now I'm a fear monger. Now I'm a misinformationist. Now I'm all these things because I said something that goes against the black community. Same happens when I go against the Mexican community and the illegal immigration situation. Same thing goes when I go against the Asians, the Middle Easterners. Everybody, except white people. If I say anything that's remotely flies in the face of white people, everybody cheers. Like, yeah, if I say, man, it's really getting fucking hard to just not walk down the street, trip, and fall onto some white guy that hasn't stuck his dick in a kid. When I say that, everybody's like, yeah, yeah. But if I say, man, it's getting really difficult to just walk down the street and not trip and fall onto a black gangbanger that's hurting somebody, they're like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. You're a fucking hate monger, you piece of shit. But both are true. Both statements are fucking true. White people like to fucking imagine that we got no issues, but we got some fucking issues, and one of the biggest issues we got is fucking little kids. Now, we don't marry them like the fucking shitty Muslims do. We don't make it a part of our culture. We don't write it in our Bible that it's okay to fuck little kids. We don't scribble it all over our fucking ancient scriptures that you can treat women like shit. Marry and fuck little kids. We don't do that. I mean, I guess I'm kind of having defended. I'm kind of half defending this. Because there's cultures out there that this is not only condoned, but promoted. At least white people do it in the fucking shadows. And I'll tell you this, we work on our own. I don't see any Middle Easterners. I have never seen a single Middle Easterner beat the ever-loving fuck out of a fucking Middle Easterner for marrying a child or fucking a child. I've never seen it. I would guarantee you it has never happened. But I've seen thousands of videos of white people beating the ever-loving fuck out of white people in parking lots because they tried to hook up with a little kid. I don't ever see any videos of black people going out in droves, stomping the fuck out of gangbangers for being gangbangers and fucking ruining the communities. You don't see it. It's never happened. It's never going to happen. Yeah, they might have had a parade once or twice against gang violence, but when do they have those? Saturday at noon? Why don't you go at fucking first of the month at 9:30 at night? How about that? How about that? Why don't you take your fucking parade to the streets at fucking 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, when they're all the fuck out there? Why don't you go out, take your parade? Nope, you won't do that because they'll fucking hurt you. So now it's just a fucking exercise in looking virtuous, right? We're going to put together this parade, this little march in the middle of the day where nobody could possibly get hurt. And we're going to act virtuous. We're going to act like we really give a fuck. But when it comes down to solving the problem, we're not actually going to do that. When it comes down to actively hitting Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Rumble every single day, talking about the problems in your community, we're not going to do that. No. No, we'll leave it up to people like Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. The bitch that says, well, you know, just because you did a crime doesn't make you a criminal. Being a criminal is more of a mentality. Bitch, I don't know if you checked the dictionary lately, but the definition of fucking criminal is person doing crime. That's the goddamn definition. But this is yet another ploy to produce more tolerance. See, now that a lot of people, in fact, I would say a very, very healthy chunk of society is now standing up against the black community and its bullshit behavior en masse. A big chunk of the fucking society here in America is standing up against black people. China's ready to ban black people. Japan's ready to ban black people, and they just now started welcoming them in. They're already ready to ban them. because they're all the fucking same. But we could fucking turn it around. But we can't because we've got people like Jasmine Crockett that aid the fucking process. See, the way she says doing crime doesn't make you a criminal, that is a fucking psyop. That is Jasmine Crockett's dumb fucking ass out there trying to make a fucking bigger victim out of everybody. Out of you, out of me, out of our families, out of our friends, out of our communities, out of our societies, out of our brothers and sisters here in America. That is her trying to make a bigger victim out of all of us, because now that we've all stood up and we're starting to fucking take notice, real hard notice of all the crime around this fucking place. We're starting to stand up against it. Now what happens now? We've got to shift that narrative. We've got to push that goalpost back. We've got to shift the perspective on how you view tolerance. So we've got to alter definitions now. Yeah, we're really good at altering definitions, especially the left. So now we've got people like Jasmine Crockett coming out here and say, doing crime doesn't make you a criminal. Well, guess what? A lot of stupid fucking people out here are going to be like, oh, I think she's got a point. I think she might be onto something. That's what's going to happen. And then those stupid motherfuckers, have kids. And then those kids are going to grow up learning that fucking doing crime doesn't make you a criminal. Just accept it. Just tolerate it. It'll be fine. Except that it won't. And we're seeing that in America. America is in its most drastic decline from a social level than I believe it's ever been because of tolerance. Every single last one of us, let's not make this only white against black or fucking white against everybody. Let's go everybody against everybody. Every single fucking culture of people on this goddamn planet has a reason to be mad at every other fucking culture of people on this planet. But at some point, you tolerated it. At some point, you let it go. Now, what are the odds? Okay, let's just talk about tolerance and slavery here. What are the chances that if all the black slaves that did all the work in their time of slavery, white people were still the first, so calm the fuck down. Slavic comes from slave, slave comes from Slavic. Calm the fuck down. I get it. And I have to say this every time. You guys call me out every single fucking time. I have to say this because somebody is going to be in the comments. Somebody's going to be in the DMs or my fucking email talking all about how fucking, blacks are the only slaves when it's just not a fucking fact. Everybody, literally everybody has been slaves. White people were the first. Black people were the last. And that's why they get the most attention. Nothing more. So, but what are the chances that all the black slaves in America, should they had not practiced so much tolerance of their slave owners, what are the chances they could have taken them motherfuckers? They're taking their fucking freedom. When you've got one slave owner owns 100 slaves on average, 50 slaves on average, you only got so many bullets. And then you're going to die anyway. So we could even take it back to slavery and the black community. If the black community had stopped tolerating all its black and white slave owners and Arab slave owners, slavery would have ended pretty fucking quickly. I mean, if you're thinking about it. I mean, everybody wants to talk about numbers. Look at Vietnam. America lost its fucking ass in Vietnam because of numbers. America lost its ass in a fucking bunch of places because of numbers. They just kept fucking coming, kept coming. And eventually we got overwhelmed. The black slaves could have taken their fucking freedom back anytime. All they had to do was do it. All they had to do was stop tolerating it. When the fucking guy came by on his horse and fucking whipped him, all 15 of those motherfuckers should have chopped the legs off of that horse and then cut that motherfucker's heart out that whipped him. But they tolerated it. They fucking tolerated it. Why? Fear. Fear. If you don't tolerate it, you'll get labeled. If you don't tolerate it, you'll get beat. If you don't tolerate it, you'll get killed. If you don't tolerate it, they'll come after you or your family or your friends. Tolerate it. Just tolerate it. Fuck it. Just tolerate it. I would say we are done fucking tolerating shit. We're no longer going to ask God for the strength to tolerate the shit we can't change. We're going to start asking God for the strength to change the shit that we can't fucking tolerate, because this fucking tolerance bullshit has America in the greatest decline it's ever fucking seen, especially socially. We're done. We're done with tolerance. I don't give a fuck what color you are. I don't give a fuck what fucking gender you are. I don't give a fuck what sexual orientation you are. We're done tolerating it. We're done tolerating everything we do. We shouldn't be tolerating. You should tolerate opposing viewpoints, but not opposing actions. Opposing viewpoints is this. I say gangs, if you're in a gang, that makes you the world's worst human being. Okay? Now, just for argument's sake, I'm not saying that there's no reason to be in a gang. I've been in the world's worst fucking areas, or country's worst areas. I understand that sometimes you just don't have a fucking choice. But eventually you do, and you don't get out of it. So if I was to say, based on that I think gangbangers are the world's worst people, and then somebody was to come to me and say, just that. Well, most gangbangers don't join gangs because they want to join gangs. They don't join gangs because they want to live a life of crime and destitution and danger. They don't want to do that. They get into them because they need the protection from the areas in which they live and the people that live there. That's an opposing viewpoint. That's acceptable. Like I can see some validity in it, but overarching spectrum, you're bullshit. You're full of shit, because eventually there comes a point in time where you need to fucking make the decision to get the fuck away from that, or not do it anymore, or whatever. And you guys mostly just don't. That's why we see 55-year-old fucking crippled up motherfuckers on the side of the road acting like they're still in the heat of the street, and people just laugh at them. But in their brain, they're hard as fuck. In their brain, they'll take on anybody. Their body can't handle it, but in their brain, they would. What we can't tolerate is religions that promote every other religion that isn't part of that to be slaves. Israel, the Talmud says all non-Jews are born to be slaves to the Jews. All Gentiles are born to be slaves to the Jews. We're done tolerating that shit. The Quran says all sorts of shit about how everybody that doesn't submit to Allah needs to die. Everybody that's not Muslim needs to die. And here's the kicker. Many of the people that convert to Islam should be killed for converting to Islam, because they've turned their back on their own religion. So they've got it wrapped up in a nice little bow where you die if you do, and you die if you don't. Fuck you, you die. That's the way it is. We shouldn't be tolerant of that. We really just shouldn't be tolerant of that. Now, that's not to say that there's absolutely zero things in either one of these religions that is of positive nature. That's not to say that there's zero things in either of these religions that we shouldn't be tolerating. Their beliefs are their beliefs. That's fine. I have my beliefs. As long as your beliefs don't move into action, we can have tolerance. Once those beliefs move into action, now we have to stop tolerating, and we have to stop tolerating it immediately. If we looked at the black community when they started talking all this jive turkey bullshit back in the 70s about gangs and stuff, if we had started not tolerating it once they moved to action, being from the talk to the gangbanging, if we stopped tolerating that, well, we probably wouldn't have a lot of fucking gangs right now. In fact, I can guarantee you, we wouldn't have nearly the gang problem that we do right now had we not tolerated it in the 70s and the 60s when it all fucking started, when it all moved from rhetoric and talk to action. If we stopped tolerating it, we could have nipped it in the bud, but it's too far gone now. What are you going to do with the gangs now? You're going to talk them out of being a gangbanger? You're going to show them the light? Are you going to enlighten them as to the grand design behind life and humanity, and all of a sudden these fucking pieces of shit are just going to stop? No, of course not. They're just going to look at you like you got two fucking heads because you're fucking stupid to them, and they're going to go continue on about fucking, walking around their fucking town at 2 o'clock in the morning with their fucking gats. What are you going to do? Tolerate it, right? There's only one way to get rid of them now, and nobody's willing to have that conversation, so I guess we're stuck tolerating it. But this is what it all boils down to. Even in your own life, You have to understand, and if you haven't heard this before, you should have, but I'll tell you it now. There is a fantastic fucking line. I forgot who it came from, but he said, the worst behavior that you accept is the best behavior you'll ever get again, or something to that effect. The worst behavior you tolerate is the best behavior you're ever going to get delivered. That means, think about your own life. Here, let's reframe this. Think about your life. Everybody has had friends that have taken advantage of them, correct? You've got them in your mind right now. You can see their face. Would that relationship have gone so south had you nipped it in the bud right away? As soon as that person started mistreating you, and if you had said, hey, bring it here. We got to have a fucking chat. That shit don't fly. I ain't going to fucking accept that anymore. And if you don't like that, you can get the fuck out of my life. If you would have said something like that right out of the gate, as soon as that piss poor treatment of you that behavior started, do you think that relationship would have ended so badly? Do you think that relationship would have even ended? Or do you think that relationship might have gotten even better, maybe even exponentially better, because now the boundaries were set? Now everybody knows where we're operating. I know the parameters in which I have to stay inside in order to appease you, in order to show you that I do respect you. I know the box that I've got to stay in with you. I'll bet you the relationship would have gotten better. And I say that because I've had personal experience, and maybe you've had that personal experience too. Once you lay out boundaries, it's sticky, right? It makes you feel icky when you're laying out those boundaries, laying out those no-go zones. But what happened after you did it? You felt better right away. You felt 1,000% better right away because you actually stood up for yourself and what you wanted, what you desired, what you believed, and what you thought you deserved. You stood up for that. So you felt better immediately. And what happened to the other person? They felt better also because you came to them. Now, even if it was a little hard to hear, they know they can trust you because you will come to them. That made the relationship better. They stopped enacting that certain type of behavior. That made you stop feeling a certain type of way, and everything got fucking better. Because that's the way it works when you lay down the boundaries. When you stop tolerating it, shit gets better. When you keep tolerating it, shit only ever gets worse. If we would have stopped tolerating the gang problem in America, it would have not gotten to the point where it's at now. If we stop tolerating it now, we're going to have a big fucking fight on our hands. But it's better than it's better than continuing to tolerate it forever. It's better to just stop tolerating all the intolerable shit in our lives and our society right now than it is to continue tolerating it, hoping it gets better. When was the last fucking time in your life that using hope as a strategy actually worked? Let me repeat that. When was the last time in your life that using hope as a strategy for success actually worked? It never has. Hope has never once worked as a fucking strategy and to obtain success in any way, shape, or form. Because hope is not a strategy. Hope's a bonus. The strategy comes from speaking up, standing up, fighting back against the mistreatment that you believe you're receiving. And right now, Americans at large are receiving enormous amount of mistreatment. We're receiving mistreatment from our own American brothers and sisters. We're receiving mistreatment from the black community, the brown community, the yellow community, the green community, the purple community, the rainbow community. We're receiving mistreatment from every other fucking country on earth. Literally every other fucking country on earth is fucking just throwing shade over the Americans. And we just keep tolerating it. We just keep tolerating. Why? Because it's virtuous, right? We've got to look virtuous. We've got to look like the savior. That's a lot of the fucking shit, the bullshit rhetoric I get hit with over my content. You should be using your platform to bring us together. How am I not? Well, I don't see how you spewing your hateful rhetoric is bringing people together. Well, The fucking stupid bullshit tolerance rhetoric that you have been fucking preaching from your fucking soapbox for the last 50 to 70 fucking years has gotten us in a situation that's worse than it's ever been. So how about we try my way? How about we try shocking people into having a conversation? How about we hit people with so much truth so fucking hard that they can't deny having to acknowledge it? Because that's what I do. I hit people with truth in the fucking face so goddamn hard, they have no choice but to acknowledge it. We may get into it right out of the gate, but they're going to go home and they're going to think about it. And I couldn't fucking tell you how many hundreds of fucking people that I've had these conversations with that started poorly. Started at them just coming at me looking for blood and ended with them apologizing to me and saying how right I was about a lot of things. Not all. Let's not go fucking stroking my own ego with lies. Stick to the facts. I've been apologized to by hundreds of fucking people. I've been explained to by hundreds of fucking people that my content and my approach to the fucking content that I talk about is what got them to think that way in the first place. That's the only thing that opened up that little stupid fucking door in the back corner of their mind that allowed them to go through and actually acknowledge the information. Actually remove their biases, remove their perspectives, remove their fucking self from the equation and simply look at it from a 30,000 foot view. So why isn't everybody doing this? Why isn't everybody standing the fuck up against these injustices? Why isn't everybody standing the fuck up and instead of just fucking doing what they're doing, just sitting around tolerating it? We've got Jasmine Crockett, who is a fucking leader in her community, unfortunately. I don't know how, but unfortunately she is. We've got people like her. Maxine Waters, another leader in her community. We've got all these fucking people calling for violence. We've got all these people changing and manipulating the definitions of things like, just because you did crime doesn't make you a criminal. Yes, it does. Just because you came here illegally doesn't mean you broke a law. Yes, it fucking does. That's what makes you an illegal immigrant. Why do we have so many people sitting around tolerating this, but yet bitching to their wives, bitching to their husbands, bitching to their work friends, bitching to their fucking life friends about how fucking fucked the world is? Literally, how many times have somebody said, man, the fucking world is fucking fucked? How many times have they said that to you? But didn't say it to the internet. Didn't say it to any of the people that are actually fucking the country up. Didn't say it to our elected politicians. Local, city, state, federal, never said a fucking word. But they'll tell you because it's virtuous to not say it out loud. And that goes back to the fucking silent majority. Everybody fucking got fooled into believing that being silent about what bothers you makes you virtuous. They got fooled into believing that that was a noble endeavor to not stand up against what's hurting the country. What's hurting you as an individual? What's hurting your family? What's hurting your people, your culture, your religion, whatever. They got fucking fooled into believing that it was noble to keep your mouth shut. Also, that the fucking people that didn't give a shit about being noble could take this motherfucker over. How many gangbangers you think really think are considered, consider themselves acting nobly in relation to the fucking betterment of their country? How many illegal immigrants do you truly believe them breaking into our country is a noble endeavor that benefits our country? How many elected politicians in America that are ushering in all these fucking shit pile Middle Easterners that are marrying kids and fucking goats? How many of those do you really think are sitting around believing that what they're doing is noble? None of them. Nobody believes this shit's noble. Then why do they do it? Because it benefits them and they're selfish pieces of shit. That's it. That's all there is to it. No more to it. An illegal immigrant didn't, you show me a legal immigrant, right? Somebody that has come here legally and did not get here before that. I'll give you my commendations. I'll give you my kudos. I know a few of them. And they hate illegal immigrants more than anybody. And they're Mexican. Yeah, and I'm like Mexican, real Mexicans from Mexico, because I know I always say that anything below south of the border is Mexico. The real Mexicans, and they fucking hate the Mexicans here that are fucking coming just streaming across the border like the fucking floodgates opened up, like we owe them something. Like it's their righteous fucking entitlement to have a piece of this land, to have a piece of our prosperity. They hate them more than anybody, more than any white people, more than any black people I know. Is Mexicans hate Mexicans more than the illegal Mexicans, more than anybody. That's noble. I find it incredibly noble to turn against your own culture when your own culture is the problem, or creating the problem, a problem, some of the problems, whatever variable you want, variant of that you want to use. I think it's incredibly noble when white people kick the absolute fuck out of other white people for touching little kids. I think it's incredibly noble. I think it's incredibly noble. Well, it would be incredibly noble if we ever saw black people taken to the streets and stomping gangbangers for being gangbangers and fucking ruining the communities. I think that would be incredibly noble. If you guys want to organize something, that'd be great. I'll call you noble, but I'm not going to take part, because I'll just be the first target. The first pasty motherfucker invisibility, like, that's visible. I'm not interested, but I will definitely give you your fucking props. It would be incredibly noble for the Chinese nationalists that are here to start ratting out the other Chinese nationalists that are here to hurt people, smuggling in fucking agricultural fucking bacterias and diseases, amongst other things. I think it'd be incredibly noble. It's not going to happen, because, again, Americans and white people are the only ones that have to tolerate this shit. Everybody else is out for their people, and their people can do no fucking wrong. But what do you think, guys? I mean, like, when it comes to tolerance, where is it that is the flashpoint? Like, where is the part of practicing tolerance that the flashpoint happens, that tolerance goes away? You know, because for years we heard everybody bitching about the educational system. I still do. I fucking hate teachers. I think teachers are the scum of the fucking earth. American teachers are the fucking one of the lowest forms of life ever. Stand by that fucking statement. There's a couple of good ones. I had a lot of fucking teachers in my life. You know how many good ones I had? I mean, truly good ones. Two fucking good ones. The rest were fucking shit. The rest were there to do a job, get a paycheck, and not work all summer, and then bitch that they didn't make enough money. They were there to work 160 days or 180 days, get paid for fucking 365, and then bitch that wasn't good enough. That was most teachers. That is most teachers. Most teachers are the ones that say in front of the camera on Wednesday, we're just here for the kids. We'll do anything it is for the kids. Anything the kids need. We love the kids. The kids are our future. We're here to do anything for them. Thursday comes along and they're going, fuck them kids. They're not going to school because we need to make more money. I just bought a fucking Beamer that I couldn't afford. How am I going to make that payment if I don't get a fucking raise? That's teachers. Scum of the fucking earth. Every last one of them. Couple of anomalies. Mostly shit. People tolerate it, right? In fact, because this is one of my big pieces of content that I talk on, people nowadays are not even tolerating teachers, right? They're tolerating teachers while promoting them. Out one side of their mouth, they're talking about how fucked the educational system is, how fucked their kids' minds are from what they're learning. And at the other side of their mouth, they're talking about how great teachers are. How in the fuck do you explain this other than brainwashing? Guys, don't you understand? Teachers are the ones propping up the system. Teachers are the cops, right? If the fucking lawmakers in Illinois say, we want this to happen, but the cops refuse to enforce that law, what happens? The law goes away. If the fucking teachers are handed a curriculum from the higher ups and said, we want this to be taught to our kids, critical race theory type shit like that, and the teachers refuse to teach it, what happens? The curriculum changes. But what do we see? Every fucking teacher just doing their fucking job. Fuck your kids. Fuck their future. Fuck the future of this country. I need to get paid right now, so I'm teaching whatever the fuck those motherfuckers tell me to. That's teachers. But everybody tolerates it, and they're never going to do anything about it because we're still at a state, like I said, we're not. Out one side of they're bitching, and at the other side they're praising. You can't bitch about somebody and praise them at the same time and expect change. What about crime and punishment? That's all come through the '60s and the 70s. We all thought crime was going to be the flashpoint. Like once crime got so bad here in America, everybody, all the citizenry was going to gather itself up and start taking to the streets and shut the crime down. But we never did that. We're still not doing that because we'll get labeled. We'll get in trouble. We'll be called vigilantes, and then we'll be locked up, and we can't have that. So we've got to just let all these useless fucking cops not do their jobs, all these useless fucking lawmakers not do their jobs, all these fucking useless fucking people out here that are creating the problems. Well, we got to just let them continue to create problems. We never do anything. The best thing we could ever hope to do at this point, as spineless as a people have we become, is have a conversation about it. But even then, I mean, we're having the conversation right now, and half of you are probably fucking pulled back. Half of you are probably like, I can't believe you're saying it out loud. But it's just reality. So we can't have the conversation either because we've got too many people that are just not going to accept reality. What about cultural relativism? Accepting harmful practices under the banner of respect. That goes back to the Muslim thing, right? Christians are all supposed to accept you motherfuckers fucking little kids, marrying little kids, treating women like shit, killing gay people because they're gay. All of this shit. Raping women, stoning them to death, making them so they can't speak in public, they can't be seen at all, ever. Christians are supposed to just sit back and accept that when you're hurting people. Now, that's when Christianity fires up and God says you have to fight evil. About social media. Anything goes on social media, right? What do we see? We see people dropping hard R's and talking about Jews and all this other shit. Where's the people where's the people talking about Americans? Like, it doesn't feel like we've got that going on anymore. And you just heard that, right? You just heard the fucking ding. I don't know what the fuck you guys did over at Apple, but I don't like it. This whole fucking update of where the master volume now changes your alarm volume. Well, that's fucked me several times. Thank you guys for that. I don't know why you had to change that just to make it different. And now airplane mode and sound off, and I'm still getting notifications, audible notifications. Guys, Apple, fix your shit. This sucks. That's bullshit. Stop making fucking master volume affect the fucking alarm volumes. Stop fucking making everything just bypass airplane mode and sound off. Stop. Fix it. Fuck. But back to social media. About social media. You got all these people talking about all this shit. When do we stop tolerating it? When do we stop tolerating people talking about how awesome it is to live gang life? When do we stop tolerating the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of fucking criminal element people in this country talking about how awesome being a criminal is and trying to get other people to join their ranks? When do we stop tolerating it? When do we stop tolerating people like fucking Jasmine Crockett trying to alter the definition of criminal? When do we stop tolerating people like Maxine Waters and Randy Fine fucking talking about how we need to just bring violence to the fucking people that disagree with us? When do we stop tolerating this shit? It's all over social media. What do we do? Shut down social media entirely? What do we do? Censor the ever-loving fuck out of it? Or we just battle it out? I don't know. There's got to be an answer to be had. You know, you start talking about moderation and people get mad. Well, you can't moderate. That's censorship. People shouldn't be censored. But yet we're censored every fucking day in a prison that we created ourselves. A prison of tolerance that we choose to continue living inside of, while everybody that we see on the outside of those bars is fucking this world up, and we don't like it, but we're still choosing to live in that fucking prison of tolerance. What about fucking psychological angles? Because that's one of them. You lock yourself up in a prison. When you practice tolerance because you believe it's a virtue, which it's not, but when you practice tolerance, you believe that you're a you're a virtuous motherfucker. And that leads to fucking anxiety problems. It it leads to groupthink, because now you're going to have to find a support group because you feel bad, you're in the dark, you're sad, you're feeling kind of depressed, you're feeling exhausted with life. So you got to now find another group that feels the way you do. And then it becomes an echo chamber. Then it becomes just groupthink. And then you guys move in a pod of depression and sadness and weakness and spinelessness. It's not good for you. You know? There's other ones. About this. We could talk about help plans, self-help plans and programs. AA is a big one. I find AA to be both very amazing and utterly despicable at the same fucking time. Because AA, like all treatment programs, is not designed to treat you. It's not designed to fix you and then send you off on your way. It's designed to capture you. It's designed to make you start believing that you can get off of drinking, but if you get off of this program, you're fucked. And I recently had a friend of mine that went through just that. Long time AA'er. Did a lot of shit for the AA program. A lot of shit. Hosted meetings, hosted speeches, talks, all this other shit. He decided that he wanted to live his life a little bit more. Go to one less meeting a week. Wanted to live his life a little bit more, spend more time with his family, do one less fucking charity event a month. You know what they did? You know what AA did? Turned on him. Because AA is a cult, like every other treatment program. Every last one of these fucking treatment programs is a fucking cult. They get you off the drugs and then hooked on the program so that you continue the fucking program while people make money on it. They're all cults. And as soon as you decide that you're going to stop tolerating their cult-like behavior, they turn on you. And what does that do? Especially for addiction programs. Sends motherfuckers right back to addiction. Because the fucking cult put them there. This is real shit. This is reality, people. This is stuff you have to fucking deal with. That's what happens when you feel like you've been made lone. When you've been put out by the pack and you're now by yourself. You will inevitably search for a tribe. And most of the tribes you're going to find are fucking piss poor examples of anything that you should ever be a part of. Now, I know, since we've talked a lot of shit about the tolerance, let's flip the coin, because let's look at the other side of this, because we don't want this just to be a hate rally, right? So let's look at the counterpoints, the credibility of tolerance. Tolerance is a cornerstone of our liberal democracy. I'm really thinking about how to spin that in a good way, and I just can't think of it. Like, I really can't think of, okay, democracy is good. It doesn't work, but it's good. That's why it's never worked. It works democracy only works in small clusters, in small groups. It only works then. And then, even then, it barely fucking works. Because at the end of the day, somebody's got to be able to make a decision. So if you've got a group of 20 people, and you've got 4 different routes you can take, with 5 people voting on each one, who makes the tiebreaker? Who makes the decision? If nobody makes the decision, your civilization in that little clusterfuck of fucking idiocy is going to fucking tumble. It's going to tumble down the shitter quickly. That's why business partnerships should never be 50-50. I don't give a fuck who tells you what. A business partnership should never, under no circumstances, 0% of the time, ever be 50-50, because that creates stagnation. That creates points in which you can't move as the business. Somebody has to be able to make the decision whether the other person likes it or not. So it always has to be bare minimum 51-49. But then you get the people saying, well, that's communism. If somebody can make the ultimate decision, that's communism. No, that's getting shit done. That's operating inside. That's operating outside of the parameters of complete and total idiocy and stagnation. Where that is moving what we're supposed to be moving in the direction we're supposed to be moving it, despite everybody trying to hold it back. That's what it works. Tolerance. When it comes to innovation, tolerance has led to innovation. You know, when I could reference Operation Paperclip. So back after World War II, we had a little thing called Operation Paperclip. See, the scientists, the Nazi scientists, were amongst the most brilliant on Earth, if not the most brilliant on Earth. So when World War II ended, every nation did whatever they could do to race to grab these scientists. Well, we had Operation Paperclip, and we ushered them in. We brought them in by the plane load, bus load, train load. We brought them in as big a numbers as we could get. And we tolerated their Nazism. We tolerated their views on the Jews. We tolerated their views on certain things. And we got a lot of fucking innovation out of it. So sometimes, I guess tolerance can be a good thing. Very, 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 very few examples in the world, in the history of mankind itself, where tolerance led to something great like that. But this is one of them, so they do exist. Is the real issue tolerance itself or the absence of shared civic principles? That's a great question, because the real issue is not a lack of shared civic principles. Civic principles are ideas that we all live by. Just to really dumb this down. Civic principles are like, you shouldn't go fucking key your neighbor's car. If you see somebody trip, help them up. If they drop something, help pick it up. Help out people. These are civic principles. You do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. But a lot of cultures out there don't believe that shit. So now they're trying to, this would have you, I would say that this is a tactic in making you wonder, questioning yourself. It makes you wonder if you're actually in the wrong, if you're actually practicing intolerance, or if you're just mad that they don't share the same values, because that's a different proposition. If you're mad that somebody doesn't share your same values, that's kind of fascist, that's kind of Naziist, that's kind of communist. But if you're mad that they're marrying little children when that flies directly in the face of every value you hold, that's totally okay. You should be fighting that. Now, we've talked a lot about, as with always, we've gotten into the weeds about this tolerance shit. I personally believe tolerance is over. Tolerance in every fucking aspect is over. We the people are fucking done tolerating we the people especially, because that's where the most tolerance has to take place. It has to take place between we the people and we the people. We're done tolerating it. Black community, get your shit together. Mexican community, get your shit together. Every other fucking community, get your shit together. White community, get your shit together. If we all of us, including the white people, get our shit fully together, what do you think we could make fucking happen? Well, that's a fucking question that we'll just have to explore at a later date, because right now, since we've been in the weeds, you know what time it is? It's time to remind us that people, good-hearted, good-souled people still exist in this world, and with a little segment called Hopelessly Human, and it starts a little bit like...
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
Alrighty, for our Hopelessly Human today, I've got a little short story for you titled The Gift of Time. In an increasingly busy world, taking time to connect with others can be rare. When Jacob learned that his elderly neighbor, Mr. Adams, was feeling lonely after losing his wife, he decided to take action. Every Wednesday after school, Jacob would visit Mr. Adams for an hour or two just to chat and share stories from their lives. Mr. Adams looked forward to these visits like nothing else. They rekindled his joy and gave him something meaningful to cherish each week. Jacob learned that sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is your time, proving that compassion can bridge age gaps and foster friendships. I really like that one because of a young man understanding the true principle of time. Time is the only gift that you can give that you can never be repaid back. You can never get it back. You can never make it up. So time is indeed the most important gift you can give. So if you have somebody in your life, let me please implore you to give them some time. And that's the show.